such a young age and a girl, and the maester said he could not continue to treat me and dismiss my pain unless Lord Laenys gave his consent, which is what I want from you, brother. Because I might, if I see our uncle again, I need time to calm down.
Laenys sighs, not wanting to just have anything happen. Looks at her. Show me the way.
Bree will and seeing as how she's just fucking left immediately after the maester, she'll fucking escort
He's
Lanny
on his way away from her room.
Yes.
Having changed her sheets, taking the chance to do that while she was gone.
As I will direct the maester that she can rest with milk on the pot.
Frau Dessem, right, as my lord wishes. Still, go and get her more.
Bree will half
opium.
hug Laenys. Thank you, brother. It is for the better of our house, and I am glad that I am. And then she frowns puzzled because she didn't really notice that he had been bitten before, even though that didn't really do that much. Oh. Did Sir Kazan not thoroughly protect you while I was out? Brother, you appear to be under the weather as well.
Just a bit. But I will manage.
Oh, Uncle said that these people were absolutely sworn to protect us, and that we should do our utmost to respect them. Boy, I wish they had been around whenever I was traveling to Wyronwood for the first time. And she will give a bitter, sardonic smile and, pat her brother, on the shoulder. Thank you, brother.
He will probably give her a little cup.
Lan's giving a comfortable smile back. This is not how he's used to Bree being.
Bree will, she'll, take the cup to her room and, lay down in preparation, take the cup and just, fucking, spread it.
She gets nice, dreamless sleep. No pain, no thoughts, no dreams.
No nightmares. This is, the best thing
Nothing.
ever. My character now has an addiction to milk of the puppy.
You can very easily get one.
All right, I'm taking that for a destiny point, guys.
Meanwhile, Lance will return to his room, finish preparations, and go downstairs to find his uncle. Still in quite a lot of pain, and definitely not the same amount of confidence he had before.
Sure. You will be informed whether you would like to have a meeting today, sort of in the day, or if you would like to wait until tomorrow after the snake feast. There's no one talks politics during a snake feast. That's a celebratory.
I'll pass that decision on to Dessem.
You can wait until tomorrow if they really want to prolong this even further.
You can choose to do it today.
You can go to a meeting, why not?
We could go to a meeting.
If you go to a meeting, I'm gonna go visit Bree.
Unless the Lord personally requests that she be at the meeting, in which case, how could Nima refuse Dessem's you're gonna be at the meeting.
A visit to Bree wouldn't be very interesting. She's probably just sleeping.
Yes.
And Nima is
getting drunk.
Really? Yeah, getting drunk, and doubts that anyone's gonna attack him at the meeting.
Well, there surely have been better times to attack you if that's what they wanted.
Have you seen the Red Wedding?
The Red Meeting.
There's also the consideration that I as a player don't know how much of a hurry we're in. We're also want to organize a wedding, and it takes a week for a wound to sort of recover, and I do know that Halldamir's character has 3 of them. We might not want to wait the entire 3 weeks, but
no, just give me a week and some milk of the poppy. I'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
The Bone Way is a pretty inhospitable and lethal place, and we're going to be even weaker trudging back up there.
Indeed. So you're going to the meeting. I'm going to talk to Bree.
Talk to. She's not gonna.
You can talk at.
Yeah.
I'll talk at Bree while drinking wine.
And
I love wine.
Let me tell you something, Bree.
I got 5 to his
Well,
1.
Nima's not noble. She doesn't have to deal with that kind of shit.
Unless asked.
I'm not asked. Right?
No, you're not asked.
Not for me either.
You're noble. You have to deal with this kind of shit.
Alaric does it.
Hey, there's
Alaric
like
does it just to
7
spite
of
her.
you.
I don't.
You're not coming.
Sure.
Sir Alaric.
If you wanna go have a meeting, then they certainly will.
Let's do this.
Sure.
Well, Jonas, at least your character is prepared for the rigors of doing something.
On Milk of the Poppy, I can still fight.
Which was also one of the reasons I didn't partake in that fight much.
Right.
I want to have a pool for this.
Like it's not so much like the milk of the poppy thing, like Alaric. It's like now we're going into political fighting,
Yeah.
or at least that's where I think Jonas wants to go.
Just give me a small dose of Milk of the Poppy, I'll be fine.
That's a little
I can
bit
function
stuff. Water
just
down.
A little.
I need my fix, man.
Just to
Been
dull the
like 3
pain,
days.
to halve the penalties.
Cold sweat
Sleep.
just all over the place.
Sure. Well, we'll gather the meeting. They'll probably be here when you arrive. There's like wine cups. It's very nice in a room with sort of the sun shining in on the table.
Is Alaric joining us?
Let's say this in here is the table. There's no reason to be like such a huge table. That's kind of
Onto the
awkward
rug.
if you sit like 2-4 meters away from one another.
Come on, onto the rug, everyone.
Just like trying to like reach across to the other person, can't even remotely reach.
I mean, still can't at this range, but
I'll sort of sit back, drinking some wine, waiting for all of you to take place.
I imagine we all take place.
That's all of us.
Look at you and put down his cup. Sort of sit up a little bit in his chair. Look at you and says, "So, this meeting has been a little bit coming, hasn't it? You have been
one way to
patient,
put it.
and I appreciate that. You've been courteous guests, and I appreciate that as well. And more so, you have reacted in the way that I hoped you would. And I feel that, well, after your actions at the snake hunt, that you've proved that you are indeed the kind of people that I hoped you would be." He gives you a smile and lifts his cup. "To your health." And then he will drink. His younger sister, Rosette, will drink as well. She doesn't say anything.
Dessem just looks at him. Yes, you're. I am still waiting, Lord Ironwood, to exactly why we were called here. Surely you did not call us all the way from our ancestral home to fight raiders in your territory.
No, that is not it. Sure, just the letter I sent, a message with very little information, was the reason you came here in the first place. It was intended. So looks and says, "The truth, you deserve it at this point, I think, is that I spend quite a lot of time considering how to further the interest of my house. And I would have been saddened if my plans had become too widely known to be feasible. The target, now as I'm sure you know, would be House Will. They have for too long intruded our lands, hunted our guest, disrupted the peace between our realms. They've done this stupidly obvious in the hope of provoking you. And as of yet, I'm surprised that it has not worked. It has, however, provoked me, and I'm not of a mind to let that slip. Your house has been hurt by them in the past as well." He sort of looks at Dessem in the eyes. "I must admit that I have been puzzled why your lord has not claimed against them. And yet, perhaps, even as I say that, I have an idea of it. The laws of Dawn will prevent you from gaining much of anything from them. In addition, you have had little proof of what happened back then. What if, however, you had the backing of a powerful Dornish house and a bit of proof as well? She narrows his eyes.
That might make it more feasible, yes.
To bring down House Will, I need 2, perhaps 3 things from your house. So let's back a little bit. First, most importantly, I need your lord to press the issue of their savage acts so that we have legitimacy to strike at them. Secondly, and his eyes move to his sister, says, I will need, he looks to Laenys, say, a marriage between people of importance in our house, of enough importance that would warrant that your problems would be our problems, so that we could legitimately aid you in this case. I would suggest, moves a hand, that my younger sister Rosette, I'm sure you have seen what she can do now, is to be married to your lordship, Laenys. I believe you're both free and you are of a similar age. Thirdly, Soren says, should things come to pass as I hope, then I would want, he looks to Sir Alaric, the Sir Alaric to ensure victory in a trial that might turn to be one of combat. They will no longer have any warrior who can stand against him. Back slightly. My plan is that we will attack them from the south, you will attack them from the north, we'll strike at them quickly, forces invading the territory. Then, when the issue of our legitimacy is called upon by our lords, we shall present the case of their actions against the laws of the king and the laws of Dawn. You have a highborn witness who has been scarred by them, and only now has recovered enough to speak of the horrible acts that happened. When you were snake hunting, you happened upon a camp where she recognized the attackers. We have proof that they came from Will. We will hunt them now through the mountains. You will not be able to ask for much. You cannot ask for wealth, you cannot ask for land. As Dornish lords, you cannot ask of them anything, as was stipulated when the peace was declared. The lord will be forced to likely take the black, and that would be it. However, we will suggest to finally fulfill our oath of protecting the Boneway by allowing my younger brother, who is not here and has no part in any of this, that he should move to Will and act as a steward until the heir of the house shows himself. He said a grin slightly, if he ever does. If he does, you will all be able to recognize him as one of the men that are currently in our dungeon. Yes, and he will then be forced to take the black as well. His only option will be to stay away. As I have a feeling he's going to escape from our dungeon, we will have no way to prove that it was him, and he will be out there somewhere, which will forever, well, prolong this time. You will keep what plunder you took when you attacked their lands, and you will have gained a strong ally in Dawn, who will now be in a position to aid you with some of your rivals. In addition, we will both have done our part in keeping the peace between our realms and dealt with an annoying problem for both our liege lords and the king. Says we will win favor, land, and wealth. So leans back slightly.
Dessem looks at them. Well, as you said, the land and the wealth will be yours more than ours.
That is true. But that is simply because of the stipulation in the peace that a Stormlord can never take from Dawn.
We still gain influence and reputation for justice, though.
And I am sure, even though we cannot take from Dawn, generous gifts can be provided from our dear allies.
Sort of smiles and says, bridal gifts, naturally. He looks to his sister, who's looking at Laenys.
How is she looking at Laenys right now?
Oh,
How does she feel about this?
She seems to maybe, like, it's not unexpected. And she seems to just be looking at him, probably trying to gauge the same thing from him.
We're both throwing our awarenesses at each other, like, what is he thinking?
Does he seem surprised?
He does seem surprised about this, actually. Laenys was not expecting this turn of events.
Dessem looks at Lothan and says, it is an interesting plan. Although it does seem to me that even though we have both something to gain, taking revenge of Will is certainly something that is pleasant to my thoughts. You do seem to be the one who would gain the most out of this deal.
Perhaps. But through the marriage, you would be ensured that our goals would coincide in the future.
That is indeed my thinking here.
In addition, I believe your liege lord is a proponent of peace, and taking out the known raiders, who through our work would be proven to be the ones doing it, would certainly win you a lot of influence.
My concern is, however, something your friend Lady Blackmont said when we first met.
Says, yes?
There is more things going on in the realms and close to our home than just House Will and its raiders into your territories. And I think you know of what I speak, but something is coming from over the seas.
Nods and says, yes, that is a trouble. That is not really mine, to be honest. What king rules in King's Landing bothers me terribly little. Dawn's laws stand, and if Dawn was to gain more, I would still be under the Martells. Either way, a proponent of peace would please the current king, and if our plan succeeds, I would like to keep that goodwill where it is.
I want to enter into intrigue here.
Well, what do you want from him?
I want to know. Dessem wants to try to find out that if Bittersteel comes back, what side would Lothan Ironwood be on? Would he be on the Bittersteel, or would he be on the King's?
He's not trying to hide it. He says that he doesn't seem to care overly much. But right as it is, he would probably support whoever his liege Lord Martell supports, which would be the current king. It is not the battle that currently concerns him. He sees it as he has little to win either way.
Right. Like the current king would be like too big of a fish. Like House Ironwood's like whatever. Like,
and besides, if this plan succeeds, he imagines that the current king will look very pleased on them for taking care of this problem, and that goodwill would probably be worth something. He seems to act pragmatically. He doesn't feel strongly about it.
My main concern is that you roped us all into this without really explaining it first. And so I am somewhat wary of these suggestions, so I'm sure you understand.
I'm sure you understand, however, that I could not simply ask it of you not knowing if you would be committed to such an act. In this way, had you simply denied it, I would have reasonable deniability as well.
Dessem snorts. Oh, come now, Lord Ironwood. It is well known that House Caladan are no friends of House Will. And if you would have explained your plan, he snorts slightly.
I like to err on the side of caution. I'm sure you understand. Besides, I like to keep as much to the truth as possible, and saying that you simply happened upon them. I have not seen them. I cannot verify the legitimacy of these prisoners. I will not be the one to do so. You will, because you have little to gain from it. In this way, if I were to say that the heir was one of the people who attacked you, it would seem suspicious, as I have a lot to gain from it, potentially. You do not, because you cannot take anything from Dawn. In this fashion, you will barely have to deceive anything. Simply tell the truth, and that should carry you far enough. I would not want to put you in a position where you had to lie.
Oh, that would be dreadful.
Especially with my deception is my worst down.
He's just
Quite
looking
you.
at Sir Alaric, the honourable knight.
My persuasion's good. Deception not so much.
Alaric
I can
said
take
a
care
word.
of lying. That's not.
I present the offer with my sister's hand. She sort of stands and curtsies, which is very uncharacteristic for her.
Well, I mean, I will go out of character here and say that this is a huge decision that I can't make on my own, and this is something for the group to discuss.
I believe so too.
Personally, I think the deal's good in the long run, but there's a lot of what ifs that could potentially ruin everything. Like, what if he just backs out? As we say, we're going to attack, and he's just like, yeah, we won't be there. And
Well, if he does that, what after marrying his daughter, after his sister, that's gonna have a big implication.
yeah, but that would also leave us hung out to dry in effect.
It would also damage the house's reputation greatly.
If that
for not
happened,
defending their
you
own.
might lose a battle. That might be called a thing, but your case would probably still go through because of what Bree found. You have
True.
independent proof as well.
We do-
Although you
we
couldn't
do-
probably claim much more than sending their rulers to the wall, winning sort of a minimal victory. But
The point stands is we have
you have
evidence
the
in our
moral.
Okay.
Yeah, you have a case. Right?
In which case, in that case, I would say that the only concern I have is the alliance. The alliance actually staying strong over the years. Like, will it actually last, or will he soon forget about us? Although
Oh,
he
you
is
can only-
marrying his sister, but
Yes, there's only
Still,
so
he
much he
can-
can forget.
it's true. But he can look away from it. After
Yeah,
all,
I don't know.
his sister.
I like certainly enjoy the idea of getting back at will for what they did to us. I mean, that has a huge appeal, certainly.
Having mind the people that control the phone way is kind of nice.
I mean, it would be nice in a way. It is. We are helping House Ironwood quite a bit by basically allowing them to take like twice their land. Like they expand tremendously by taking out Will, and they would be incredibly powerful. And that's the thing I'm thinking here is like if he becomes so powerful, he might decide that the Martells are not in his best interest anymore and try to oust them. And then we would be dragged into a war with the Martells and through them with the king, and then we're boned.
He's only, in which case he'd only have, although they are two very strategic positions, Ironwood as its own. I
We
don't
know
think
that
is very
Winewood has always
defensible.
been very loyal
But they
to the
wouldn't-
Martells because they have no defense towards that side.
Yeah, that's
but they
what.
have, but they're not alone. That's the thing. Lady Blackmont basically told me straight up that she dislikes the Martells wholeheartedly and just wishes them to die. And she said to me that she believes that Lothan shares
Does
her feelings. So I mean, she might be wrong, of course, but
yeah would
I'm
I
wary.
think there'll be two castles.
yeah they only have
Two
two
months.
castles. The Martells.
It'll be two castles of the Ironwood, and then you'd have one castle of Blackmont.
Yeah.
Right.
Versus the entirety of what the House Martell can bring to offer, which, as it turns out, they're the liege lords of Dorne.
Yeah.
And
they-
allied to the king.
Yeah,
Yes.
they can bring everyone.
I
And
don't
if the king says
Like-
that
like-
the
like-
Marshal
like-
needs to
like-
get involved,
Like I could personally hate, the current king. What the fuck am I gonna do against
But-
the king?
But remember that Blackfire is on his way back, and when he lands,
So what?
when he lands, the king is going to have his hands full, and then it might be the time when Ironwood is like, all right, king is his hands full, Blackfire is messing up shit, it's time to strike.
Literally, so what? House Martell still has their liege, like the lords beneath them of Dorne. Like House Martell
Yeah.
still controls Dorne.
Yes, of course, but that and that's what I'm saying. What if Ironwood goes against Martell? What if they decide they want to try it?
That's
just wouldn't
too
have
far
the
away.
numbers,
Like
though.
we're not gonna fucking fight House Martell.
No.
Like
No, that's what I'm saying. No, we're not. So
Yeah.
then,
but then
so then we don't. The end. Like House Ironwood is stupid enough to attack House Martell.
Yeah.
We don't help. We suffer the same embarrassment and shame of like this whole marriage thing. Ooh, I guess we'll have to get over with surviving.
end of the day, like breaking an alliance to side with your liege lord, especially if it's breaking an alliance with the Dornish, the Lords of the Reach aren't really going to be like.
Like it's literally not our fight. Like even if we wanted to try to interfere, like Lord Tyrell could go, no.
Yeah, he could just go, yeah, don't do that, and we'll be like,
I mean, pretty much it's disobey our liege lord or disobey the marriage,
Sit
right?
down.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Like we're keeping this fucking peace, you motherfuckers. Like looks
Yeah.
like we're keeping the peace.
so you know, I'm not too concerned about the whole rebellion thing at the moment.
I don't see a problem in regard to that front.
I feel if the rebellion happens and it's going to be a big thing for us, it's going to hit us regardless of who we're with.
Yeah. We're gonna end up being in a war, regardless of what side.
Just
we're
it just depends whose side are we on when the big
You don't
when
have
the
to take
explosion
this. Of
starts.
course it's not coming. Just fucking sit out like so many other people do every time there's a civil war.
It'll be fine.
Look at how many houses sat out of the Dance of the Dragons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the edges, just like, nah.
Okay.
I'll muster
the-
my
the
people
problem-
and like
the
march a little
problem-
around.
I mean, I personally think that we might be lucky enough to sit out, and if there is a war, I don't think we can because there's a lot of people around us that if there is a war, it's probably going to go for us.
We don't
Exactly.
know.
The point,
It's the
people.
challenge that I made in the group chat. We
Yeah.
don't know who any of these people will support. So
they might
it's
have their
hard
own
to make
natural-
that judgment call.
I mean, we can try to make educated guesses, I think, but
Well,
I
point-
don't have enough education. This is our
But then,
fourth
yeah, that-
session. I don't know anything about those lords enough to make a determination on who they care about.
by the way, you could also, now that they asked Laenys and her to marry, you could also say, so, I know you have a younger brother, and we have this lovely young woman here too. Double marriage.
double marriage. I don't think we need a double marriage.
Yeah, that.
It
Well,
would
you
secure
know-
the alliance.
Just because you don't need something doesn't mean it can't be useful. Think of the money.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
the problem
True
with,
money.
The problem with that is also if we want to get out of this alliance, it's harder to get out of a double marriage alliance.
We could use her to try to get like some sort of alliance back home. Like that's what
Yeah,
we
that's what
discussed
we
during the
should
week.
have.
Because especially now, if Laenys and Rosette here hook up.
To give my official opinion, this is something I expected as far back as session 1 when I communicated with Bree that that the note was about House Will. And I didn't know these specific terms because of course I didn't, but I'm not surprised about it. I mean, I'd be amenable to it. It certainly furthers my character's goals and interests. I mean, you could lose yourself in what ifs about just about anything. But as is the case in real life, you either pick something and go with it, or lay down and die.
I vote that we should go ahead with this alliance.
Okay. I'm just glad Bree's not there, because Bree would be full fucking like,
I kind of almost want her to be here for that
No.
reason.
Bree has already had her her insanity. I think Bree's
Except
good.
how would she be with the milk of the poppy?
And Desem's like, nah, and she jumps up the table.
Okay, so so does that mean that you, Grimith?
I would say in character and out of character, I'm for this.
Okay.
I would out of character, I would you could try to an intrigue to try and haggle for better positioning or maneuvering. Certainly don't let him get off the hook and just accept all of his terms
No, that's
flat
what-
out.
Exactly.
But I say that I'm open to accepting it. It would be it would be unfortunate if we were to leave with only the wounds to show for it and like the experience of whelp. And one of the concerns that I mentioned in the group chat last week is that we're so distant, like they're the entire boneways there. Yeah. If House Wyronwood's like their younger son ends up being put into a position of stewardship, and you could argue that by being married to a daughter of House Caladan, that it makes us feel comfortable with that stewardship idea as well, then that puts House Wyronwood like close to us. And because we'd be known allies, that would certainly be a protection unto itself. That would remove my concern about there being a boneways distance between us.
Mm-hmm. And also, if we are allied with the house that effectively controls the boneway, that would be a huge
we're in a very strong
as well.
Position there.
And that like we might not get so much wealth, but like the pure like the beautiful credibility, like yes, the bragging right, which makes like Gormy just like sit there go, I can't fucking believe this shit.
You might even be able to build a road up to our place from the boneway. You know?
That would take a lot of wealth, I think.
Yes, but it's possible.
It depends on how much was gotten from that. Yeah, and that out of character, I think it's a reasonable idea to pursue, subject to Dessem haggling. And in character, of course, this is my entire character's goal. Like the complete destruction and salting of House Will. If this is the best that she could get with that, like
the thing is, I would agree so far that we need to haggle as good a position as possible out of this, because as I said, we can't take any loot, we can't take anything like from them in such. We can only press claims and get them sent to the wall. So I would like House Caladan to get some real monetary gain out of this. To compensate because we are basically giving House Will over to Ironwood, and that's got to be worth a fucking lot, you know.
Yeah. Like a massive like bargaining, like intrigue.
That's not small potatoes.
Yes, but in character and out of character, I'm fully supportive of those.
Okay, so that's me, Dark, and Grimith.
I still have my trepidations, as I said, but yes, I think it is worth a shot.
Tina, what do you think? I know you didn't even want to come to Dorne in the first place, but since we're in this position now, what do you think?
About this marriage?
Like the entire thing that's been haggled, do you think we should just like leave and say, screw you, Wyronwood, we're not accepting your offer and go back? Or accept like everything as it stands?
I think we should accept.
Okay, then.
Then I guess we're going forward with it.
Well, how does... Oh, Dark did say yes.
Do we then want... do we want to still hold a tournament for our last niece, or do we want to try to marry her off to the...
I still personally like the idea of haggling for a double marriage, since it does make us feel more secure if the steward of Will also ends up being married into House Caladan. Mm-hmm. So I would at least like the bargaining for that, because I do think, personally, it would be cruel to have dragged her all this fucking way to have not at least tried. But, I mean, if it falls through, then we still have the tournament idea, so... Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, give it a shot, but then if he's like, yeah, no, that's... No.
And at least that'd be, like, a reassurance if, like, other than that, any other, like, bargaining, like, reassurances or, like, payoffs that we can get, damn it. This is House Wyronwood, and it's a big deal, and if we're going to help them, we want to feel like it's a big deal.
Mm-hmm. So we want a double marriage. We also want a pretty bloody substantial, monetary donation for this. And I would also say that we would like to get assurances that we can call upon some of their troops to help out with some of our problems, particularly the Lorne men would be a possible thing to root out with.
What I've learned when people tell me about bargaining, which I have no personal patience or care for, is that you're supposed to start shoot for the moon and then haggle down to what you actually want. Just shoot for the moon and then...
It's basically like saying, this shitty car I have, give me 20 grand for it. Oh, you'll take 10? I'll have... Yeah, sure, whatever.
I'm being nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna...
Yeah, but that's...
In a good
so
mood,
on the prospect of my younger brother, I had another in mind for him, in fact. House Will has a younger daughter who, after some time when their heir mysteriously does not show up, or does, and is found guilty of these actions, will become the heir. I had halfway planned to have an engagement sitting there, so that if that were to happen, it would not mean the loss of what we had gained.
That is,
Okay.
that
Under
actually
control.
makes sense. That
She's at the moment too young, so hopefully it will not happen before a time where it is appropriate for such a match to be made.
that does secure their position. I see where
It secures it for them.
Yeah.
You can attempt to do like a check or whatever to determine whether they actually have like Houseville has a daughter who fits that bill. Although I presume he's not lying about that, since it's something that's easily verifiable.
I think
So do we want to press our claim in this part, or do we want to just hold
As
it on
for the need to remove bandits, well, that is much what you're helping us do here. I see no issue with sending some of our people. We will be pressed for troops in a little while. We will want to send some guardsmen to Houseville to ensure that their troops do as we wish them to. But perhaps sending them to some foreign place and take care of some bandit is something that's ambiguous enough for their troops to do. They will not know the land, and they will not have friends around there. That might be a good use of them. To send them away from home so that they may not be around if their lords would.
And then they join up with the fucking bandits.
Probably not.
Wouldn't that be some shit?
yeah, but then
We don't have a lord anymore, and you know.
Yeah, but in that case, can we not like turn around to like the Tyrells and go, look, there's Dornish in our fucking ranks.
They're like, what?
There's the fucking
Also,
Dornish.
Jonas,
Dornish! Oh,
Jonas, do you really think all those people
Lord
with their
Carol,
families
the
are just
Dornish are
going?
coming.
And so
I mean,
the peace was
like,
broken.
Like Longthorn's like, seriously, dude, I need a fight. Like, you have no idea how bored I am in right now.
He's like, I will wreck shit.
Yeah, and Alaric's
Tell
like,
the
I know
host,
where there's a whole
70,000
bunch of
men.
bandits.
70,000 men.
The host
Well,
He calls all of his banners and descends upon our tiny little forest.
king.
I mean, on that idea, like, the double marriage, at least we tried. Like, his argument seems pretty logical and reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
All right, fine. And then, like, the bandit thing, like, that's cool.
yeah,
So-
he gives us that. That is fine. And then
a
it is
sizable
for the sizable.
I mean, after
also
all,
be
it is-
amenable to, although Dornish law would suggest that Laenys would stay here, I will be amenable to allow Reset to return home with you and
Yeah,
stay in your lands.
That's
Perhaps that will make you feel more safe about the match and the future of
that gets a legit hostage. That's hard to argue.
the time.
That's what we're fucking... Yeah, that...
I mean, he's not saying that, but
Right.
that's what he's
But
saying.
yes. But yes.
But yes, she will be our hostage.
But also, yeah, that would be a minimum to agree to this. We're not
Because by
Laenys is not
Dornish
staying
law,
down here.
The Dornish have the right of the first choice, basically, as that is, they have more rights than you do, as a matter of fact. So generally, she would stay here, and their children would gain her name. But if she moves to your castle, then their children would gain his name,
Good.
because that is out of Dorne. If she stays in Dorne, their children would be Ironwoods. So
Okay. Children
it's a good reason to.
Children are
Good.
being Caladans.
We need more Caladans, as it turns out.
Yeah.
Well, Laenys the baby maker.
Yeah.
He
I
is.
mean, I'm pretty sure you commented on this before session 1.
Yeah.
He is, as
did.
talking to the maester. He is
We will-
capable of performing.
When
Isn't
this is done, we will eradicate whatever bandits might remain in your lands as well. And perhaps then, shall become the trading hub that it was meant to be, prioritizing trade from Caladan lands before others.
we have a lot of flax, and
If we can speak to the House of Dundarian, perhaps a line of safe travel could be established between our lands and theirs and yours.
Dessem will nod and say that he actually has fairly good contacts within House Dundarian, and that would not be impossible, probably.
Raise an eyebrow, and that seems like a wonderful coincidence.
Yeah.
I have to say as a player that I think I'm more open to this because of the fact that I didn't expect Lothan, for all the things he would put on the table, to actually offer up the only daughter of House
Yeah,
Watson.
no, I
like they're a significant house compared to us, and so
we are certainly,
She would certainly be marrying down,
yeah.
being she's a third, basically, son, marrying to a second son of a lesser house.
Ironwood is a big house.
like
And possibly getting bigger.
considering how like
going for like great even in a way because
like this is better than like the cruddy marriage that was like suggested with like the castaway daughter. Like this is a
yes, okay, but yes, we are certainly handing over potentially House Will to them, and that is certainly worth a lot. So yes, a sizable dowry seems to be in order in this case, as we are in fact certainly joining our two houses together in such a good bond, but also, you know, in the bargain, from our side, we're basically doubling your lands.
It shall be paid once the issue of the will trial has been dealt with, as that is surely something that takes up our hearts and minds, first and foremost.
Well, if all of this can, I don't know, are these things agreed upon and put into writing, or is it all?
Some of them. The marriage is first and foremost what will happen, as that's kind of a pre. And then basically you go home, prepare your troops, and then we are supposed to strike them.
Right. I just basically want to try to make as sure as possible that he will actually pay up. Sure. You know.
But generally, you don't put your schemes into writing because then people find them.
No, I know, but you know what I'm saying. It's like, oh yes, you get lots of gold, and then we like die in the field, and it's like, huh, well, that's that.
Yeah. Well.
I mean, there's only so much you can write without saying, well, yes, we're going to go ahead and help you.
Right, he wouldn't want to give you the evidence that you could present to someone saying, oh, see what House Wyronwood plans on doing against you.
Well, if we attack together, basically, you know, we're in it together at that point.
Yes.
And really the marriage is much of the binding of the contract. After that, you don't have that many people to marry off of that importance.
They're kind of important people here.
Well, see, I think an alliance with us, especially given the new political landscape that will be afterwards, will be much make you perhaps feel safer from potential enemies, and maybe even allow you to act a bit bolder in finding similar opportunities for your own growth.
I need to be kicked again. Right, but I mean, still, it's just.
That's part of the Game of Thrones, Jonas. You cannot get the 100% money back guarantee.
No, I know. It's just that we are. It's the thing of like, yes, we are ensuring you getting rich, and then we are doing it on vague promises that in the future you will help us.
I mean, there is no way to get a permanent binding contract here.
I don't know. The marriage, I don't know. If nothing else, doesn't seem like a vague promise. I think that's a big point.
I mean, yeah, the marriage is a pretty big gesture.
I agree it's a big point, but it's, I mean, I would marry off Laenys to get all the lands of the House Will, you know? I would be like, yeah, done.
Well, you can't agree to marry him off. He has to choose whether he wants to be married.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
They still need to be kicked. I mean, they are paying a lesser daughter for a enormous amount of wealth. And I just hope that we get our due for that, for doing our part, because without us, they're not going to get it. And I just want to try to make sure that we actually get paid.
From his view, you also lose an enemy, which might be valuable as well.
Having
as valuable to us as it is to them to lose an enemy.
I mean, he's not an enemy of House Will.
I'm pretty sure he just stated that he was.
Well, yeah, but not sort of officially, or not to them anyway.
I mean, they haven't had themselves a lot of hostile relations. No. It's more just a case of.
House Will is simply unfortunate to have acted so stupidly.
What about their alliance with Fowler?
The Fowlers could act, but, well, as it turns out, there are two houses close to them that would just love to seize that opportunity. Lady Blackmont and their allies of the Bright Blades down south will make sure that the Fowlers do not dare to move. That is their participation in this plan.
What I'm hearing is that if Fowler tries anything, they're gonna get
Blackmont
fucked.
Blackmont is gonna get him.
Yeah.
Oh, this is just an amazing set of dominoes.
All right. A sizable dowry, marriage. She comes with us, and
We're gonna have to build a sept.
yeah.
I suppose we are.
Fuck.
He would suggest then that the marriage should take place before you leave.
Yeah.
And she will then go with you. We might want to extend the little stay for a little while. He looks sort of to Alaric, which I'm sure wouldn't be a big issue, because we would want to make this a satisfying marriage. Now that it is a few more than a household knight that needs to be married. I would invite a few guests.
Sure. You know, at this point, if we're going with this, sure, invite all of frickin' Dorne. That's just
I would invite more lords of the Stormlands, but I do not know that they would want to travel the distance.
Does anybody have a raven that can go to hide?
Besides, if we were to hold a celebration a bit bigger, after this is all dealt with, after all, I'm sure that the trauma of finding out what your, he seems to think, niece went through, now that she remembers it, was enough that we might want to hold the wedding and then postpone the great celebrations until afterwards. This would also serve as to not forewarn anyone of what might happen in the near future.
Dessem nods. They will no doubt miss the Red Adder rather sooner rather than later. So it is in our interest to strike as quickly as we can in this case, I think.
A small wedding then, with a larger reception, perhaps at your homes. We will then, as part of the dowry, offer to pay for a grand wedding. For their union, or grand celebration of their union.
We're not doing it Guild 2 style in the street.
Once this is done, well, basically here you would do it in the sept, but he suggests that the partying, or the bedding and such, would be postponed until, consummation is expected, but sort of the official large announcement to everyone would be done when this is over with at your place, so that you would have to be, you would be able to like his father would be able to be there and such. That seems to be fair. And at that point, it will be easier to travel back and forth. And House will not know that, oh shit, a marriage down there. They're probably, that's kind of bad.
Yeah.
And he would rather do this without losses, by striking as fast as possible.
I like it. Get the 2 marriages done. Bish bash bosh.
Is that Alaric's way of describing it?
Why do I have feelings that Alaric's going to be knocking on my bedroom door?
So, kid, listen up. There's a few things you need to know.
We will soon be family, it seems. He smiles to his sister.
I do have a question, as Lothan Howard stated earlier, as a possible trial by combat. What great warriors do they have?
Yes, they would potentially want to bring the heir to the house, the Red Adam, a strong man who is known to use rather a lot of poison. Hence the importance that you were able to take him down without a lot of warning of a big party. Or he would be prepared, and he is quite capable of leaving wounds that would then be, untreatable. He's not a man of honor in any way. He has been acting to banditry in the area for some time, retreating back here whenever they needed water supplies and some such.
In that case, out of character-wise, Halldamir, your character just defeated the heir of House
I just fucked him up.
Yes, you're the one who did it, and totally not anyone else with any help at all.
Hey, no,
yes.
They helped a little, but
we have the heir locked up, basically.
And if we do this before he escapes,
he will likely escape soon.
We just cut off his hands then.
cut off
how's
his
he gonna
right
fight?
hand.
How is he gonna fight with no hands? How's he gonna flee with no hands?
He's also probably not getting too much medical attention.
We want him to flee.
Well, cut off one hand.
Because if he flees, and I do not see him, I do not know who he is. I cannot verify who he is, at least. We will have no idea where the heir is.
Well, can we at least maim him so if he shows up,
Because we will recognize him, and he will not dare to show up, because he will know what will happen if he does. He might continue to act out here, or he might be too scared and flee into the mountains to live like an hermit. A hermit, which I think is rather just. Living alone in the Red Mountains does not sound like a great way to sustain yourself, does it? Beyond that, we will have clean hands.
I mean,
He will have nothing to bring upon us. We will have acted as honorably as we could. He would have fled, also giving credence to his guilt. And robbing them of him for a potential trial by combat, which they could call upon him to fight in. I would rather that we hunted him. He will escape. We will send sandstriders after him, keeping him running until he is deep, deep into the mountains, and then we'll watch for him. He will not be able to leave them.
sure. Just try to make sure that he doesn't actually show up for it. It would be sad to have Alaric poisoned horribly.
Yes. Hence why we wouldn't want to bring him. We cannot simply kill him. That would be against the law.
Yes.
Well, Alaric will point to the huge scar on his face and say, well, this was from a Dornish raider, and that was poison as well. Wouldn't be the first time.
Let's not take any chances.
Yes, I'm sure you don't get more resistance to poison the more you take. That's not how
The
it works.
nobility has access, especially the will lords, have access to things that are vile. I'm sure you've heard of their pits.
Yes.
They have pits of snakes that they keep.
Well, slightly.
And when they have prisoners, they throw them in there to be, well, paralyzed and then devoured alive.
I will add Rosette told us about it, if you guys forgot.
Mm-hmm.
There's a thing
like
we
will
may
not.
put a stop to. If we take over.
Sure.
I suppose that is a betrothal then. He'll raise his wine cup and say, "Congratulations, sister."
Dessem raises his glass and says, "Congratulations, nephew."
Alaric just raises a glass.
I am rather happy with this match, to be honest.
I suppose to a long marriage.
I have certain traits that I'm sure our liege lord will appreciate in the match with Dawn. He sort of smiles. He himself, after all, married a Targaryen as well.
Laenys will smile slightly.
Oh, I thought the traits he was referring to was the cowardice. My bad.
Oh, he probably hasn't noticed that.
That's.
Well, as
That
long
would
as she
be-
doesn't tell.
I'm sure liege lord loves cowards.
I'm sure she will tough him up.
I don't think
Sorry.
you'll get a choice.
As long as she doesn't tell. He's like, he
She's
did hide.
She's his loving and adoring wife now. It's gonna be great.
I mean, the loving and adoring might take time, but
Congratulations, Dork.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations.
Session
Look,
4.
Looking forward to.
this is not how I pinned my fourth session going.
It never is.
Oh.
And Dessem
Unofficial heir to a house who is in the marriageable age.
will
I mean, really, if you consider the grand scheme, House Wyvern's the one taking the risk. Like, I mean, like, we might not really even get anything out of this House Caladan. I mean, fucking, like, their unofficial heir doesn't really, like...
You have a
No,
kiss's
we
belly, you know.
give them will. That's what we do.
Well, we try.
We'll try. Yes. Oh yes, we have the Casus belly indeed.
Well,
Now
our
you just need
chancellor
to
has
make
successfully...
now you just need to make your lord of your house press it.
That should be
Maester
pretty
Cole,
easy.
we need some special medicine coming up.
But
Letters
he
might be
doesn't
good.
see why that should be a problem.
Good.
The Lord of the House most likely is angry that his daughter was like acted upon in this
He doesn't
fashion.
even recognize Bree as alive.
And that's when he tells people that his daughter's been murdered by this man.
That is
But
when
I think this is a fine place to end the session. To be honest, next session we will have a short wedding, and then perhaps even a trek back. Unless there's more you want to do in Dawn. He seems to you can probably stay for a week to rest up a bit.
Hopefully get rid of our
But we'd rather sooner rather than later want to deal with them. It doesn't make sense for this to be something like it seems worse if we waited like 2 more months after finding out about this whole thing and then pressed the claim. It seems more passionate if it's done sooner.
Sure. Yeah. Just need to nurse our health back after the brutal fighting and all.
So just a week with the marriage.
And Dessem will hand over the responsibility of having that man talk to Laenys to Sir Alaric, because he is certainly very knowledgeable in those areas.
I probably already had to talk, to be honest, from him.
Like, no, she's not a reach girl, but
Well, let me tell you.
yeah, because those, I mean, I have.
Ho, so many.
They say that there's been few chances to do conquests and war, but
There's different ways.
Laenys is just squirming in his chair, so uncomfortable
Like
with
really
the whole situation. Alaric just goes on and on.
I'm fine with loitering here for a week. Welcome to bed.
will you continue to just want to be fucking dope with this shit? Generally, you're
Yes.
not supposed to take it too many days in a row, or you
Well, I mean,
want to stop.
I will say this, that if Dessem will probably check in a bit and see, after a day or two and see what's going on. And if he notices that there's a lot of milk of the poppy going down there,
I mean, Lord Laenys has said let's just keep her on it all the time forever.
That's right. Lord Laenys outranks Dessem.
he'll put a stop to that.
How? Like Lord Laenys outranks
Yeah, talk
Dessem.
to
By talking to Lord Laenys, of course.
Like,
I mean, you are my counselor and advisor.
she's so
And I
happy.
would advise you not to make a drug addict out of your little sister. who
And that is a
accept-
reasonable thing. Lannis will mostly inform you that he said yes mainly because he didn't want an angry Bree at the dinner table.
No, it's fine. It's fine for today,
You
but
can water it down slowly. Maybe she'll think that it doesn't work anymore.
exactly.
Great idea.
Now that she's healed, there's no point anymore.
Maybe.
So after a week, it'll have been watered down enough to almost just be water. Although maybe there's a little bit of what do you call it? When you believe it works, and then it does.
Placebo?
Placebo effect.
Yeah, placebo effect. She might just act a little more drunk because she is. But yeah, and after a week, maybe the wound will you'll get to do like the.
Like regardless, though, she's staying in bed. She has
Well, that
been.
makes sense. 'cause
She is
you'll have
thoroughly
to-
upset and angry.
Depending on what you do at the beginning of next session, I suppose we'll do the injury, like the endurance rolls to recover from your injuries.
Well, considering how the Maester's been tending to be, wouldn't he make a healing test instead?
Yeah.
Yes, that's true.
Maester.
And you've been staying in bed all the time, so I don't
Yes.
think he'll fail that.
Yep, no fighting, writing, or physical activity.
Alaric will also just sit around.
I mean, Eco. I don't think Lannis is going to be very much.
Drink that
Well,
wine.
Laenys, I
and-
mean, you will have some physical activity, definitely.
I would
Oh.
hope so.
Well,
I
after
mean,
the week.
This is your sworn duty,
Unless you want to stay here for longer.
and you will honor the house.
I mean, if the wedding's in a week,
Don't
I-
don't make me send Alaric into like the bedroom to advise you, because
Hey, no, Jonas, you don't. That's not.
It's not needed.
that certainly happened to a Swedish king in the 1700s, because it was so awkward in the marriage bed that he couldn't like consummate the marriage to the queen. So they basically hired like one of the masters of the stable to be in the royal bedchamber to instruct them how to do it.
holy shit.
because
That's
they
got to
have
be a super awkward job.
Did he lead by example? though?
well, it depends on what rumors you believe, but it is a fact that he was highly rewarded and got one of the kingdom's most prestigious honors
Master
for
of
his
the bed.
services. He became master of horses basically,
Oh, okay.
and he got like a lot of medals and honorific titles and stuff.
What does that medal mean? Well,
It basically got the Order of the Seraphim.
propagator of the royal family.
No, he got the Order of the Seraphim, which is like something you get for like the highest
Yeah.
services to the kingdom.
Yeah, well, maybe it won't come to that, but I don't.
I hope
don't
not.
Even
But we're gonna have I need detailed reports. No, I don't.
awkward scene where we all roll.
Yes.
Well, that's something to find out next session.
I mean, honestly though,
And,
there's
I would say that this is a story goal in the story of finding allies in the political climate, which means that you get replenished your destiny points,
Good, I spent my last one.
and you also get a bit of a like reward because you've done stuff and overcome
What?
challenges.
I didn't even use my